Hello everyone, my name is Abdul Ahad and you're watching Multicultural Civic Platform. Today, we are pleased to have Zeeshan Zamir. He's the CEO of Box and Drops and the former president of the Muslim Student Association in the University of Manitoba. He'll be sharing with us his experience and history of the Muslim Association in the university. We are really pleased to have you.
Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, if you can talk about yourself for the Muslim audience to get to know you better.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Zeeshan. I've been in Winnipeg for almost 12 years, I believe. I was a student at U of M, University of Manitoba. Now I have a small startup business here. My family is here. I'm married now. I have a beautiful daughter. And yeah, I love biking. I love summer, just like most of the Winnipeggers.
MashaAllah. So as you mentioned, you have been here for 12 years. So what were your years in the university?
So I came to U of M as a mature student. And even though when I was here as a Canadian student, but I always felt like an international student. And the reason for that was I moved from Toronto to Winnipeg, and I did not know anyone. And I was initially, like first few months were a little difficult, till I started making friends, and then I got a job, and then slowly Winnipeg started feeling like home. Yeah.
MashaAllah. So we are estimating you came in university 2013, if I'm correct?
Yeah, that's about that, yeah.
And how was the MSA back then, if you can recall?
So when I started university, I was not part of the MSA right away. It was actually quite small. We had Muslim students, obviously, but it was nothing compared to where it is today. I remember when it was my first Jummah in the masjid, and Brother Furqan, he was the president at that time. And then it was small. The place was the same, the masjid where we are today, and but the environment, the vibe was the same, the brotherhood and everything else was the same. But yeah, it was a lot smaller than what it is today. Yeah.
If you can share us a little bit of history about the MSA.
History of MSA, like my history with MSA?
But starting when the MSA started and the masjid.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, sorry, I misunderstood you. So the MSA here in Manitoba, University of Manitoba, started somewhere around in 1970s. This is when I believe Sheikh Ismail and the other community members, they were part of it, including, I believe, Brother Idris. And then fast forwarding to, can't remember the name of the president who built the masjid. Do you remember his name?
Not on top of my head, but yeah.
Yeah, so we had, a small place to pray. And then this president, unfortunately I can't remember his name. He was part of the MSA before I came to university. And, he worked hard to get us the current space we have to pray. And then, ever since it's just growing. I mean, last time I prayed Jummah here, I prayed Jummah in I would believe it was the third Jummah instead of just one Jummah, and it was still full. So a lot has changed. A lot of, before we had only mostly people coming to do masters here, but now you have students coming to do their first year or just English. So yeah, it has changed compared to where it was obviously from 70s. Yeah.
From what we know, you are also joined the MSA. And what was the reason or what was the drive behind you joining the MSA in the first place?
So finally, after I found the masjid where it was, it took me almost 3 weeks to find out. I had to miss 3 Jummahs to find out where the masjid was. Everybody would just tell me it was in the tunnel. So just like many other students, after Salah, I would just come and sit in the masjid just to be on my phone or maybe read Quran or study or whatever, right? I would just stay in the masjid. And one day I was just sitting there, and I still remember that day, and I'm still thankful to her sister Manar, who was also the part of the MSA for a few years. She approached me and she asked me if you want to be a media manager. And I had no experience, but I wanted to get involved, right? And I did tell her that I have no experience. I have never done this before. So she was like, don't worry, we have someone who will train you and we'll show you how everything is done as long as you're committed and willing to do it. I was new here. I didn't know anyone. So that was a very good way for me, an opportunity for me to get involved and, be part of something meaningful. So that's how I started. Yeah.
So as you mentioned, like the media has grown a lot nowadays. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, and here we are. That's another form of media. The student reviewing you multicultural.
Mm-hmm.
But how was MSA media back then? If you can relate to us.
So before me, I have no idea, but I'm pretty sure it was very good. During my time, it was terrible because, as I said, I had no idea how to do things. And the person who was training me, he was in his final years of engineering, and so obviously he did his best to teach me and train me, but I was, I think, a little slow in picking up things. So I made a lot of mistakes. I remember I would just send newsletters with ads that have been or expired or whatever, right? But I kept going, but it was just basically the media was literally a newsletter. Every week we would send it out on Wednesday, and we had on Facebook when I started maybe like 100 people.
Yeah.
Right. And then that was part of the Facebook started becoming really big. So we started this campaign that we will add more people on our Facebook. Can't remember exactly how many, but I think we had more, maybe like from 100 to we went close to, by the time I left probably like 400, 500 people
Mashallah.
signed up.
Mashallah.
We had a website too, that was our media. But yeah, as you said, compared to where we are today, it's a great progress that MSA has made from my time at least till today. Yeah.
Inshallah. As you mentioned, like in your answers, like at that time there was a lot of students, right? But if you go back in that time, where were some of the most amazing times that MSA had? Of course, it's a small net of brothers and sisters, But what are some of the amazing times, and what are some of the challenges, if you can share with us?
I mean, amazing, I can go on and on. I had like I can't say every moment, but there were plenty of amazing times. Like, from just conversation in the masjid and volunteering together, seeing, community, on-campus community working together. Something that really, really shook me was there was a big earthquake in Nepal.
Nepal, yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
And one of our friends, he approached us, he was from Nepal, and he asked us to do fundraising. For Nepal. So it was Jummah too. We had no plans, we had nothing, we just went for Jummah, and then we announced in Jummah that, hey, this is the tragedy, happened in Nepal, and we are looking for funds. So people, I believe, generously donated about $1,000 from students in a small population. One Jummah, we raised $1,000. Then other student bodies on campus matched it. So by the time we gave our money to the Nepali Student Association. We had over $3,000. So
Mashallah.
that was something really, really, inspired me,
Yeah.
made me happy that, even though we are students, we have limited resources, but we can do it, So that was like, something fun. Challenge, you also asked about challenges. There were many challenges, There were challenges that were part of the community. There were challenges that were, beyond our, control. For example, in my second term, Donald Trump or the U.S. government put a ban on Muslims traveling to U.S. and we had obviously a lot of students. We couldn't do anything about it, but we raised our voice. There was a town hall about that held by the university. We were part of it, and obviously another big issue was the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's cartoon was published by the Manitoba newspaper.
Yeah.
And I was the president. So there was a lot of pressure on me to go out and protest. But my personal view was very different about it. I was like, protesting wouldn't get anything done. So what I did two things. I went on media, like all the media was reaching out to us, obviously at that time. And I said, the only thing we can do is I will just tell my students, my members, not to pick up the newspaper. Boycott that newspaper. We do not want to go out on rallies and stuff like that. That's going to get negative attention about the issue. So we can suppress it by just not picking up the newspaper. So that was heard, that made echoes within the Manitoba newspaper, because Muslims are, like, at that time, 2,000 maybe, students and professors included. And then second approach about the same incident we did was we tried to get our students involved and educate, our fellow non-Muslim students and student bodies on campus. And we developed our relationship with the Manitobans, and then after that they understood our perspective about the issue and how we feel about it. And then they started publishing about Ramadan, and they were every year I believe they cover Ramadan. So those were just few things, and like the good instances, and then the tough ones where we had to sit back and see how the whole world is reacting and what is the outcome of their reaction and what we can do based on where we live, right? So good times and tough times, yeah.
For every president that has ever been in this association. If you look back right now, almost like 9 years to 7 years, you became first president in 2014, you were president 2016, you were senior advisor 2017, senior advisor 2018.
Wow.
It's been, alhamdulillah. I was alhamdulillah blessed enough to join your first team for 2016. That's where we started. So if you project back, if you can enlist 3 factors, that helped the MSA to skyrocket, in terms of growth, in terms of the foundation, in terms of the outreach that we have today. When you project it back, how would you say it? The 3.
So there were 2 again. It's never one factor.
Yeah.
So when I joined the MSA and when I became the president, I had obviously one privilege that I was mature. I had been part of the workforce. I had been part of different associations before MSA, so that helped me to keep things calm and under control. And then I was also blessed with a very, very good team. Every member in my team, in my both first and second term, were phenomenal, and they were very passionate about it. Obviously, I was passionate about what I was doing, but my team was just never sitting down, and then they just always wanted to do one thing after another. So our goal was to do at least one activity a month, and I believe it was just my team in both terms. And our focus was for example, with Firas, part of my team, Firas had amazing external relationships even before MSA. So he had only one job, and his job was to rebuild MSA's relationship, especially during the time of the cartoon publication and all. His goal was to educate people, be part of it. And then we had an amazing media team. They work really hard in getting all the signage you see across in the masjid, getting MSA on the university map, and then we also worked with people. We were always approachable. One thing we did in our team was we posted our picture outside, picture of my entire team. Some people are not happy about it. Hey, there's a photo in the masjid. I was like, this is outside the masjid, right? So we were always engaged with the community on campus, right? And obviously, like the other team members, part of their job was to be engaged with the Muslim community as well, like MIA and ICNA and CMWIB, and all those associations. So it was just like, a collective approach by my entire team to have great relationship with inside and outside. And I just remembered Corey Funk, who now works for CBC, he hosted, he's a Mennonite community representative, and it was the first time they sponsored an iftar for the MSA during the month of Ramadan. And not only that, that's the day when they were fasting.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah. If not all, like they're members of the team, they were all fasting, including Corey Fung. And we also worked on something very important too. We rebuilt our connection with the indigenous community on campus, right? Obviously we all understand that, we are on their land, it's their land, we thank them for that. And we also understand the hardship they went through in the past, and they're still going through it. We acknowledge that. So that's one thing where we focus on to rebuild our connection with the indigenous community. I work very close to my dear friend Chance, who every now and then I see in Norway House, Manitoba. So yeah, it was just, as I said, it was a collective approach of many different people in my team and amazing volunteers too, who supported us in our both terms. So yeah, that's how we built or started whatever we had.
As the population was growing in the masjid, suddenly a decision came or an idea came from your team. Masjid renovation. When, where, and how was the decision, came about?
So I'll give the credit where it's due. So we were having problem of water leakage in the Sisters Wudu area, and there were small problems here and there in the masjid. So Thomas, who is the general manager, I believe he still is the general manager of AMSU, he was, we had a very good relationship with AMSU at that point. So we approached him and we talked to him about it. Like, there are these problems that we're constantly facing because obviously they are in charge. We run MSA, but at the end of the day, they are the bigger association where we go to if we have any problem directly. So we reached Thomas, and then he came to the masjid a few times, and then he was like, okay, you guys are talking about this problem, that problem. These are all Band-Aid issues you're talking about. Why don't you just think about a bigger project? And I was like, what is the bigger project? He was like, why don't you think about renovation? I was like, that would be amazing, right? And, so this is, to be very honest, it started. And then we started working with AMSU and the university in securing the funds. But by the time my term was done, we were able to secure funds from the university, and I think it was a right approach. He gave us a lead, and we followed through, and it was really, really needed.
Mm.
You know, the carpet was old.
Mm.
The masjid really, really needed some, love and care in a way where it was out of our reach. So that's how the renovation project started. It took very long time, obviously. Projects like this, when there's so many associations are involved, don't come in, done over a day or a week or month. But it took a bit longer because there were further delays in terms of what we wanted to do and what was doable. Yeah.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. And finally, alhamdulillah, we are here now
Yeah,
with a much renovation. Alhamdulillah, it was a big blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also shows the importance of having good relationship with the student union and the administration, all of the other student groups on campus, the outreach, and alhamdulillah, amazing work by, as you mentioned, Firas Alamuddin, to rebuild those connections and ensuring that the future teams also benefits from that. And it was through those building blocks, that inshallah the MSA was able to capitalize, in the later years. And alhamdulillah, we are here right now in this.
Alhamdulillah.
Last couple of questions, or two questions, we speak about international students a lot nowadays and their involvement, and probably a lot of the interviews we are stressing upon international students. But I want to ask you one thing. What is the importance of domestic students' involvement in the MSA? People who are from this city of Winnipeg.
Obviously, we have a lot of international students, which is a blessing. Alhamdulillah, that shows, the true color of the Muslim world. We have international and local students from across the world. You can, any Muslim country, I believe, you can say, and we have a student from that particular country. So with ICM influx coming in, with university making it easier for international students to apply, the government of Canada working, have various programs to get international students inside Canada, so that way, to fulfill the labor market and all of that. So obviously we have a lot more international students today, more than, I believe, I'm pretty sure more than local students. In terms of importance of as a local student being part of MSA is very important. I think even like in the beginning of this conversation, I mentioned that even when I came here, I was new. I didn't know how to, without Google Maps, I couldn't even navigate from campus to get to Osborne Junction, right? So this is just one aspect. Whereas when you're a local student, you already are a step ahead of all the international students that are coming in. You have a lot of students who are not Muslim, but who possibly are also going to U of M, and they're also possibly part of the other associations that you may be having a conversation with down the road for whatever reason, just approach or there's an issue or anything. But now if you're a local student, you already have that connection. Who knows, maybe the UMSU next president is also, from your school or from your brother's school or, and so, being a local student, I don't want to say the word duty, but I think it's highly encouraged. If you're a local student, you should take part in MSA as much as you can. I know when elections are happening, and if it can be discouraging thinking that, I have 50 friends who will vote for me, and as an international student, they have 250 friends who will vote for them. There's no way I'll win. So maybe MSA can find a way to get local students involved and have a quota or seat for local students to represent. I think it's very important for international students to be part of the MSA, so that way they can become part of the system. They stay close to the community, but local students should not stay behind. They must get involved. they must, be part of it, and they can be, they can become brothers to the newcomers, and show them the way, get them involved. So I think having a local student, 2, 3, 4 as part of your team, it will really, really help you. And then again, that's what it helped us. We had about 5 local students or 4 local students on my team, who were part of the Winnipeg, who grew up in Manitoba. So that really, really helped us, and that's just one example. So having local students will make easier to have connections inside and outside your community. Yeah.
Inshallah. Alhamdulillah, after the term 2016, we had a series of presidents, from that very team. From the next president with Yazan Hamad, to Nafal Lake, to Ikra Tariq, and myself. And Alhamdulillah, with the future president, the current president right now. Now, if you're looking back right now, but after that, you transformed from a president to a CEO of a company, and you started your own business. In that journey that you had while you were starting up your own business, did the MSA play a key role or did it help you to shape you up, in your leadership quality, or any skills, any soft skills you learned, that actually benefited you to take that journey as a CEO?
Absolutely. I think MSA played a very, very vital role in, helping me make my company stand up, or even give me the courage to start something like that. A lot of people just have a conversation, they have an idea, and they never work on it. And I had an idea, and I saw an opportunity, and then the only reason obviously I was passionate about doing something always on my own. But MSA played a very key role in fulfilling that dream or that idea I had. And the reason for that is just any startup, you start from paper, scratch, and then you get it to the end, event is done, and then you wrap everything up, and then you go home. So you're there from the beginning almost till the end of any event. And you're dealing with different types of people. Some people who listen to you, some people who don't, some people who have different ideas, and but you have a vision, and then you have to be motivated, the challenges. So running an MSA is like running a business, to be very honest. Just like a job, some employees or your staff members follow the work procedures. Some have different ways of getting work done, but you learn, you must know how to deal with all of them, and that where MSA helped me. With 3,000 or 4,000 members now, but at my time 2,000, let's just say about 3,000 people, and I almost knew half of them, if not all of them, and dealing with all of them on regular basis taught me, how people think, and taught me how, you can work with others, right? And also give me the courage that, okay, if something seems impossible, like when some of the things that we wanted to do, it seemed impossible, but if there is a way, if there's a will, there's a way. So we just, did it, and I brought the same approach. MSA gave me the confidence. MSA, taught me a lot. MSA taught me how to manage money, where, when I started my business, it's not like I had thousands of dollars. No. When I started MSA, we had only $700, to be very honest, and then I was like, what is this? So I'm not going to get into that, how we changed that. But same way, same approach. When I started my business, I had more than $700, but not like big companies. But then, money shouldn't be the reason to stop something. And then, so MSA, certainly, till now, MSA is playing a role in me doing whatever I'm doing.
Finally, your final advice to not the people of the masjid, but to the MSA Executive Board. You have been an executive for a long time yourself. your final advice, as your mashallah tabarakallah, like have transcended, to your next chapter of your life as a CEO. Alhamdulillah, you have family right now. You have kids, alhamdulillah. What's your advice when you look back? What's the advice you're going to give, to someone who's already a current executive or president, what advice would you give them?
I always told my team members, have fun. What are you doing? Doesn't matter if it's an event or whatever. If it's a movie night, make sure you're sitting there and watching the movie. Don't be the guy or girl who's running around and, making sure everybody else is enjoying and you're not.
No.
Have fun. Enjoy this time. Be involved, do your part, whatever your role is. No role is big or no role is small. So do your part. Be approachable. If you have taken this responsibility, then there are certain expectations from you, right? So be approachable, and then be a team player, but at the same time, be prepared to have conflicts, but more importantly, know how to resolve them, right? Listen to your president, stand behind your president, as long as he or she's, doing things that are right, ethically, religiously, But the other one major advice that I always told my team members and myself is, if your grades are going down because of the MSA, then leave MSA. Don't be part of the MSA. Reason for that is, for example, Furqan, the president, he's a doctor now. Rami, who was also the president, he's a doctor now. I have a small, company that I'm running. I can't remember who else. One of the Ishrat, Sister Ishrat, she's one of the lead engineers now, right? Yazan, he's also an engineer now. So Iqra, she just graduated, or she's almost, I believe she's done. Yeah. So we want to have successful leaders. If you're thinking, we do not want to have a great president but a failure, student, because that gives a negative impression to those who want to join MSA in the future. Then they may think that, okay, by becoming part of this association, I will lose my grades, or I will have bad, school, academic wisely, right? So your education should be a priority. That's why you came to U of M, to any university. So have fun, enjoy, help your president. It's very important to support your president, and at the same time, your school should be a priority. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Zeeshan, for your time, and we thank you wholeheartedly for your amazing contribution to the MSA, for many years, and alhamdulillah, helping us, as an advisor, as a big brother, but most importantly, a leader. Anyway, thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah, thank you for the opportunity. It was a great time. Learn a lot. Time to move forward.
Thank you for watching this episode. If you like this episode, please give us a like, share, and subscribe. And we look forward to see you all next time. Thank you so much.